I want to welcome you to Danville, and for many of you, welcome to Virginia. I've heard we have 35 states that are represented here this week, and so it's always exciting to welcome you to the Commonwealth, and we're in for a real treat this morning. For the past 2 years, I've had the great honor to come here and speak and kind of share Virginia's vision and passion for CEA, but today, you all get to hear from the man himself that inspired that vision, so we're really in for a real treat. Success, as we know, is all about collaboration. And this event could not happen without tremendous collaboration. I just want to thank Virginia Tech, IALR, CEA Innovation Center, and Dr. Lohman and Dr. Schwartz and Dr. Evans, and of course the great team at Indoor AgCon. Brian Sullivan and Suzanne Pruitt have been tremendous partners. If you get a chance to go to Vegas and see the Indoor AgCon show, it's truly one of the best, and it's just been a joy to bring all of that energy to Virginia as we continue to grow our success here. I'm a fifth-generation farmer, and I can say that one of the best parts of my job as secretary has been advancing the future of indoor farming. And we all know the benefits. We have such a growing population, a greater demand for indoor, locally grown foods. We have developed amazing technology, and of course we have the best people in the business. And many of you gathered here today have been a part of that. It's such an honor to be able to be there. Another great pleasure that I've had in the last several years has been working for a governor who supports everything that each of you are doing every day to advance this industry. From day one, almost 3 years ago, our governor has been our #1 champion for all things indoor farming here in the Commonwealth. He embraces the vision, the importance, and the why behind CEA. He loves to showcase Virginia, and when he knew that we were hosting this conference for 250 people across 25 states, he said, I want to be there. I want to be the one to come and share Virginia's commitment to how we're being a global leader in indoor food production. So ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome our 74th Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, the Honorable Glenn Youngkin.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. I can't tell you how excited I am to have you all here at the affectionately called IALR, but the Institute, really focused on this extraordinary industry. If I can, I just want to stop for a minute and just reflect on the tragedy over the course of the last few days. The aftermath of Hurricane Helene has impacted the entire Southeast in such a devastating way, and Virginia wasn't spared. We had 2 fatalities across the entire Southeast. I think the fatality count is approaching over 130. In North Carolina, there's still dozens, if not hundreds, of people unaccounted for. We've collectively had to go to work, and I know all of you care deeply about not only Southeast and not only America, but particularly many of these communities. And so I would just ask all of you first to keep everyone in your prayers, particularly our first responders who have done amazing work, people who have lost everything, families who have watched their life work in a traditional farm literally be washed away. Keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And if anyone does feel compelled to contribute, the United Way Southwest Virginia is on the front of so much of the work that's going on from a charitable organization standpoint. We've got huge resources that have moved and continue to move into the region. We are now starting to support the North Carolina effort, which is just heart-wrenching as well. And therefore, anything in your positions that any of you all can do to support these devastated communities would be deeply, deeply appreciated. The ag community is Virginia's largest private industry, and this is why we're so excited about what you all are doing. But many people, when I meet them, look at me and when I say, you know what our largest industry is in Virginia? And they inquisitively wonder, where's the trick to that question? And the answer, of course, is ag #1, forestry #3. And this historic foundational culture is one of the reasons why we get so excited about the next generation of agriculture, not just in America, but in Virginia. Because one of the other leading industries in Virginia is our technology sector. And of course, we lead the world in data management, and we have one of the deepest benches when it comes to applying new technology to industries. And when we think about the controlled environment agriculture sector, could there be a better combination of capabilities in a place that is more capable of combining them than the Commonwealth of Virginia? And that's why Secretary Laura and I had such a exciting first meeting when I was recruiting him to be our Secretary of Agriculture and Forestry, when we talked about pressing Virginia into the leadership role in CEA companies and development, not just in America, but in the world. That is the goal. The goal is to be number one. The goal is to be the leader. And the goal is to have all of you participate in what Virginia is doing. And I reflect just on the last couple weeks, and it has just been yet another chapter in an incredibly exciting and accelerating story about indoor farming in Virginia. We had the opening of what I viewed as the largest series of football fields filled with lettuce that you have ever seen at Better Future Farms. That was just 2 weeks ago. And I know all of you have been around this industry for so long and have toured facilities like that. But when you stand on the edge of this sea of green and you understand that over the course of many cycles, we can harvest year-round. We can bring that product within 24 hours to someone's kitchen table, that it uses far less resources and has a far greater yield than we can possibly imagine. I came away from that moment after having done many groundbreakings, but this was a ribbon cutting on the back end to demonstrate exactly what the CEA industry is up to. And then just a week later, Plenty cut the ribbon on their new facility in Chesterfield County, truly stretching indoor farming into the world of berries. And the technological translation into that environment is so exciting. And of course, what we see for all of that is the combination of inputs that makes Virginia so unique. You see, not only do we bring the historic heritage of farming and agriculture and the technological blending of the capabilities in order to make it work, but we have purposely added the ingredients that we believe will make Virginia not just a competitor, but the place to be for indoor farming. You see, it all begins with people. And when we think about the capabilities of the workforce and the talent necessary in order to drive this industry forward, of course we have people who are already in the industry, but how do we build the next generation of world-leading talent? And that begins with education. And I have to say that the work that's going on right here at the Institute is at the forefront of that talent development. For those of you that have not seen our GoTech efforts, we now have in over 50 middle schools around Virginia curriculum about indoor farming that exposes students to what can be. And I have literally sat with students in this facility as they understand what it means to optimize the growing process and what technology is used and how it can change the way that food production will change the world. We also recognize that the next level of education in our community colleges is hugely important. And so we now have an associate's degree in ag tech in our community college system that is available now when these students graduate from high school. And by the way, in our high school system today, they can graduate with that associate's degree if they so choose. And so the ability to all of a sudden be an 18-year-old that graduates from high school with an associate's degree that allows them to go to work right away, I think is not just necessary, but it is the future. And then finally, in our four-year university system, Virginia Tech, again, is leading the way with adding a CEA degree to their offerings. And so now when you graduate with your bachelor's degree, you can bring along a CEA degree with it. We're seeing Sweetbriar College offer courses in indoor farming and controlled environment agriculture. And we across the Commonwealth now are offering apprenticeships and all kinds of internships. All of that is with the basic belief, and we all know this, that without talent and the most forward-leading workforce, we're not going to get to where we need to be. And that, to me, is the most exciting part about the future of our indoor agriculture industry. The second thing that we believe strongly in is that we at the state level need to develop an ecosystem that not just supports but facilitates the development of this industry. And so as Secretary Lohr works every day, our economic incentive packages have been customized so that we can support this industry in a very unique way. That includes the work that goes on at the Virginia Economic Development Partnership, which is our state economic development entity. But it is also partnered with the work that goes on in our agricultural secretariat, where we in fact have special grants that are for our agriculture industry in order to drive forward the development, particularly of indoor agriculture. Our legislators have gone to work with us, and we have two of them here, Senator Mulcahy, who lives right here, and Delegate Danny Marshall, who lives right here, and they have helped us champion legislation that in fact has brought tax breaks to the industry. And so the tax breaks that should come with this sector now exist at the state level for your growing equipment that's inside, and now they're available at the state level in order to bring down the upfront cost of your, of course, substantial investment in your facilities. And then finally, we have to add to talent and economic incentives, we have research. And the research that's going on here at the Institute is so important. It's collaborative research. It's done in partnership with Virginia Tech, with industries, with local school systems, the community college, in order to make sure that we are bringing the best and the brightest and forward thinking and breaking barriers in all of those scientific areas that make the controlled environment agriculture industry work. And that's what's so exciting when you can literally talk to people in the field of data analytics, and they thought their world was going to take them someplace else, and they're learning how to feed the world. When we think about imaging and the rapid use of artificial intelligence in order to optimize the placement and lighting systems, all of a sudden folks that thought they were going to be in different fields are drawn into this amazing sector. That is what's going on here at the Institute. It is this broad combination of elements, of talent, of a recognition of necessary economic support, and then finally, research, real research that we believe is catapulting Virginia to the forefront. Now, all of that sits on the back of a state that believes strongly in being the best in business. And if you hadn't seen this past summer, CNBC named Virginia the top state in America for business. Now that was a great day, but I believe more in results than rankings. And I was so proud that the ranking actually reflected the results and the work for the Commonwealth. We're the only state in America that registered in the top half of every category that CNBC looks at. And yet, let me highlight a few because they're really, really important. First, is education. And all the elements I just went through very specifically about our CEA industry broadly apply. We were ranked number 1 in America in education. We were ranked number 3 in America in infrastructure. And one of the big components of that is we have systematically been investing in making sure that there are shovel-ready sites across the Commonwealth. To be clear, before I came into office, Virginia hadn't invested in getting those sites ready. And we have appropriated, again, with great help from my General Assembly colleagues, $550 million in order to make sure that we have shovel-ready sites, that have access to transportation hubs, that have communication and utility infrastructure nearby to make sure that businesses who want to come can go to work quickly. The second big aspect of this ranking that I was most appreciative of was our very high ranking on being business friendly. And you see, there's lots of places that try to attract businesses, and then from a regulatory standpoint, they make it really hard. And one of the things I've been so proud of is we have streamlined regulations in the Commonwealth of Virginia in order to make it easy to do business. And let me give you an example. In the past 2.5 years, the process of getting a major air permit or water permit in the Commonwealth of Virginia has been reduced in time by 70%. Now, I'll look at the other side. It takes less than 1/3 the time today to get those same permits versus 2.5 years ago. Creating a business-friendly environment is critically important. But we also were highly ranked in access to capital. And in fact, today, we were just ranked again in another survey as having one of the top 10 environments for access to capital. And we all know that this is a capital-intensive industry, and that folks need to find that access to capital. One of the things we have done is work with companies in order to find that. For those of you that don't know my background, I spent 30 years in that world, and one of the great privileges is to be able to connect my old world to my new world and make sure that companies can find the capital that they need. Workforce, we were incredibly highly rated. And finally, folks, when you put it all together, Virginia continues to be one of the top-ranked places to live. And we all know that work is great, but we also want to have a life. And that's why it's so important for us to build a Virginia that is the best place to live and work and grow a family and open an indoor agriculture business. And so that's why we want all of you here. The net of all of that is we are for you and with you. And the work that you all are doing is changing the future. The idea that we can harvest all year round, the idea that we can optimize and dramatically reduce the resources that are required in this accelerated and enhanced production of food, the idea that we can have fresh, the best produce on someone's kitchen table within 24 hours is amazing. And that is possible because where Virginia sits, we get to nearly 2/3 of the population within a 24-hour drive. That is, I believe, a great combination. And therefore, Secretary Lohr and his entire team, our leadership from VDAX, which is our Agriculture and Consumer Safety Group, they are all working incredibly hard to facilitate this advanced step and accelerate it. And therefore, if you hear nothing else today, one, I want to thank you for being here in Virginia for this most important summit. I want to thank you for believing in an industry that I firmly buy into the future and the necessity of its future. And finally, if you haven't heard it and I've been too subtle, we want you here in Virginia. We want you here. And so with that, I hope you have a fabulous summit. Please know that we are here to work with you, and most importantly, may God bless you, and please be safe. Thank you very much.